End of the session, you will be able to know uh, what is data mining at a high level, what is business analytics, what are the stages of analytics, data mining, and all that. And we will also talk about brief introduction about R. So, friends, data mining, right? It's a very, very important thing uh, in the area of business analytics, right? Data mining is very important aspect, right? So, in a nutshell, mining means practice. It's just a practice of examining large data set in order to generate information. So we all must have known about the mining aspect. Now, why do we need to call it as mining? We all dig land, right, for minerals, oil, and we even dig for various things, right? Oil, minerals primarily, or even gold sometimes, right? So uh, similarly, we dig the data here, right? We dig the data in order to get insights, right? So that to recognize some patterns, so which are going to be very useful for analytics, right? Once we know the patterns, right, we kind of mine the data in order to get insights from the data. So that's the primary objective here. So I'll just begin with a quick example. You can see the deck, there's so much of information available here. Like, it's a process of finding correlations, patterns, dozens of fields in large data, and it is also finding useful information from the data, devising knowledge out of it for improving future, right? Because any data which is not analyzed, because data has been there, and data, as the big data is growing, right, data is going to be a lot of data that's going to come in to us, right? Unless we know how to mine the data, how to derive the insights, it is as good as it doesn't exist, right? So mining is a very important aspect. So let's talk about some examples, right? For example, I want to say about clickstream data. So whenever you are viewing a public site or visiting any site in the internet, we always leave clickstream trail, right? So that data, we kind of leave it. When you look at the information, you know, just like that, right? It may not really seem useful at an initial glance. However, let's say that you are a retailer, right? If you are a retailer, you're going to analyze the trail of data the users leave, right? So what does a user do before clicking the final purchase button, right? So we get the complete picture of the customers, and we can even we can understand the nature of the customer. We can even profile the customer to an extent, right? So these are some of the benefits. Like, another example could be like in telecom, right? We all know the people, we call them as churners, who kind of defect to a different service provider, right? These people are known as churners. So we can do this analysis, right? It helps us to identify the profitable customers and find out what can be provided as customer retention. How can we retain these customers? Because if any churners, if we can analyze and find out, mine the data and find out people who are on the verge of churning or on the verge of defecting to a different service provider, how can we stop them, right? So, and people do mining the data in the credit card as well, just to study the consumer behavior um, of certain section of people, right? There are myriads of it can be uh, data can be mined and insights can be derived almost in all the domains, right? All the domains today. So bottom line, the transactional data does not bring in much value unless we mine the information and get the insights, right? So data mining is a practice that involves examining a large data set in order to get the insights from the data, right? So there are, like, lot of techniques in that, clustering, association rules, neural networks. There are lots and lots of techniques available. So let's talk about business analytics here, right? um, we'll take a quick peek at this. If you look at the definition, right, any business, for example, business analytics is all about study of business data using statistical techniques and programming for creating decision support and insights for achieving business goals, right? So any business, it's all about, two essential aspects. One is to, to increase the revenue, which will positively impact the bottom line, or in other words, the profit, right? Profit of a company. And the other aspect could be like, bringing down the cost. If a company misses revenue targets, they always look various ways to find out, how they can cut down the operational cost, right? So this is a pretty essential thing which any company, follows this. So business analytics is all about, offering support to the organization to arrive at informed decisions backed up by solid data to achieve either to increase the revenue or to cut down the cost, right? So if you look at this, study of data through statistical operational analysis and make use of past data statistical methods to understand business performance makes it necessary steps to improve it. And it is an intersection of business and technology, of course, because it is just not technology, right? So it's about extensive domain knowledge as well. I have a question right now, which I'm seeing from Mithun Raja. What is the difference between, in fact, I was just about to ask this question to this section of audience, difference between business intelligence and business analytics when it comes to decision making. Okay. So that's an excellent question, Mithun. So let me answer this. Um, Business analytics, if I need to answer it in one sentence, right? Analytics is futuristic, business intelligence is historical, right? If I want to just say that in a one line answer, right? So BI, which is business intelligence, we have, for example, data warehouse in a company. Using that, we can generate reports, right? We can generate reports and dashboards, but it is not a very futuristic thing, and we don't make any kind of prediction in this, right? And whereas in analytics, we create a model after analyzing the historical data that can predict the future, right? So it's a very forward looking, because it is more a predictive model, something that can lead to futuristic insights, right? So Mithun, am I clear? I mean, are you understanding the difference? Yeah, sure. Thanks. Let's look a little further. Why is it getting popular these days? Okay, friends, can you just throw some insights here? I want to ask you, why is business analytics really catching up now? Why is it, it was, it is creating tremendous buzz around, the circles, right? So why is it all of a sudden? Competition is high. There is one of the answers here. Growing data, excellent. So the in a nutshell, if I want to say this, right? If we have the data, we can start the analytics. As simple as that, right? In a nutshell. So all these are like, strong indications of advancement in analytics and how it is going to play a vital role in making business decisions. So let's see, I mean, as you all rightly pointed out, in the last 2-3 years, the business analytics has really picked up steam, right? It has created tremendous buzz, right? And the reasons are, I think whatever you said, they're all perfect answers, right? Of course, with the advent of social media coming into the mix, right? Social media coming into the mix, lot of unstructured data is coming in, right? And we cannot no longer ignore the social media, because in way back in 2006, if you just rewind your memory, right? If you go back a few steps back and think 2006, people were using Orkut and all that, right? Orkut, probably, Orkut is already dead now. So those days, social media is just used as a hangout tool. People just, probably, a person who is working on, or somebody accessing Orkut in a corporate world, that person is regarded as a wastrel, right? Or somebody who is not probably efficient and all that. Now, social media is a integral part of analytics, right? it's integral part of analytics. We talk about sentiment analysis, just to do test marketing and all that. So it's a very vital cog in the area of analytics. And as data is going to grow and grow and grow, we need to have, we need to do analytics very efficiently here, right? Because we all know there is a gold mine hidden underneath it. If it is properly analyzed, you can derive the insights that can change the, uh, a company's dynamics, or some main important product strategy can evolve out of that, right? So it can really take a company towards profitability. A lot of great things are available. So the significant drivers, I would say, besides all the points what we said, the costing of the cost of storing data has dramatically come down. Way back in, when I'm talking about 25 years back, right? Early 90s, storing 1 terabyte used to cost you like probably millions of dollars. I think you'll be very surprised now, right? So today, a terabyte of data storage, you just get it in a small, probably you can get it for like $70, something like that, right? So it's dramatically, the prices have come down. Similarly, the cost of processing data. Just imagine in a 95, right? Even a normal 540 meg RAM, I'm talking about mid 95, that used to cost like 50 grand INR, right? So today you can do the same thing. A mobile phone, just a 7,000 rupee phone, can do a lot of processing. It's even more powerful than this, right? The cost of processing data, that has also significantly come down. So these are, fundamental influencers for us to, most of the companies, they were little skeptical, like, few years back on their big data investment, or even, business analytics. How do they now today, most of the companies are like forthcoming. They have not only dipped their toe, they want to go deeper, because they know that things are going to be a lot more useful and insightful for the company as such, right? So okay, moving on to make a career with BA. There is a question here: for future or not, is best for future? Yeah, I think of course it's going to be a great career. Well, I don't want to go there, Vibhuti, but it's going to be a great career even if you want to pursue something in that, because analytics is there to stay for a long time, right? Because the data is going to grow, because we know the big data mix, the velocity at which the data is growing, and the volume it contributes to the volume. When the data is there, you will have analytics, right? So definitely it's going to be a very rewarding career in case you want to make investment on that. Okay, and there are few models here. It's called cross industry. This is one of the models of um, data mining. So there are few models like, CRISP is there, and you have SEMM, one other model is there, and you also have knowledge discovery and data mining. So these models are like, just like your software lifecycle model, right? Your waterfall and iterative model. In mining also we have CRISP model. In this, this is also a kind of iterative process. So at any given time, we can go back from any step, even if you have stuck at evaluation, for example, right? Evaluation, you can go back to business understanding all the way to validate further, right? So it's a continuous process. And modeling is one of the things. It's not a one-time activity, it is a continuous process, right? Mining model, right? Because even after the system is deployed, we always try to do continuous monitoring on the model. Friends, I think, can I take these questions towards the end? What is the pre-qualification for career? What is the scope for MS intelligence? Yeah, because let's go with this flow. And if you have anything pertaining to this, I would appreciate any questions pertaining to this, right? Who can get this course? Yeah, A lot of people are asking what is a pre-qualification for getting into analytics, because it's a specialized domain by itself. So um, and again, MS, there are a lot of people who are providing postgraduate courses in that, right? Who can get yeah, anybody who is, if you have the aptitude for math and stats, right? It's going to be a great thing. If you have aptitude for math, I would say, not that you need to be a master. If you have aptitude, so you can do this. Where can I take this? No, I don't have an idea about this, Sandeep. I think if you just Google it, a lot of universities are offering, right? Okay, so let's look into R, right? So R is an open source. Okay, it's an open source statistical software. It's also a language. When we download the commands, what we write in R is the language part, right? So R enables us to communicate analytical results in a very innovative, visually appealing way, right? That even the non-technical audiences can clearly understand. So R helps to improve processes and effective, by even the effectiveness by enabling analysts to conduct analysis efficiently, right? So coming back to this, R is flexible, right? R is flexible. It has all the types, classes, packages, and all that, right? So it has got, as we speak, we have about 5,000 packages in R, right? We have about 5,000 packages, and it is an open source, so that is an added attraction, right? And it is supported by an active, community of users and developers. So you've got a very big community following for R, right? Any kind of problem, most of the problems, whatever you might face while using R, if you just go to the community, you have the answer most of the times, right? So this is gaining popularity because there is a lot of advancement in analytics, and R is one of the leaders in this space, right? It was actually, if you go back to the history, right, it was born as S, you know S as in Singapore, right? Then it became S plus, now it is called R. So it has been in existence for nearly 15 years. So it is open source. A lot of vendors, like, we have R Studio is one of the vendors, right? And we have Revolution Analytics. They have come up with their own flavors towards commercial development, but the core platform layer remains the same. This is quite similar to, what you see in Linux, right, where we have different distros, but the core platform or the layer is the same, right? So even for your information, even IBM, Teradata, Oracle, SAP, they have come up with their own versions of R. It provides a lot of um, lot of corporate usages, ranging from telecom, pharma, financials, life sciences, gaming. I mean, you name it, R is there. It has penetrated pretty deeply into all these things. And again, just want to reiterate the advantages. It's an open source. It provides advanced graphical features, right? It has a GUI that helps learning things faster, easier, and it can connect to any kind of databases and data types as well, right? So can even, cross platform. Yes, that's right, Prashant. And our program can pull data from social media. Uh, it provides reuse potential as well. See, if you want to develop a package also, there is a committee. You develop something, which can read data from, for example, social media. All you have to do is just develop the package, and then uh, once it is once you get the approval from the panel, then it is set for usage for the others. So let's, I'm just want to take a quick look at the question window. uh, what is the advantages of R using, SAS? I'll come to that. SAS and R, sure, I'll come to that. Is a person wants to make career with BA, what language he needs to study? Only R? No, I think Vibhuti, the point is, there is no company which will say R, SAS, because both are here to stay. Just for your information, right? Because and if you know R, because R is got great acceptance in the industry, right? So R is a pretty, if you know R, I think you have a good chance of um, because many companies use R, right? And SAS as well. So I would say, knowing R, because R is slightly, it has an edge over SAS when it comes to, the number of companies using overall usage of R in the industry. Definitely R is ahead, right? So we will see that. I'll just mention some comparison. Sure. How is R different from SAS or Hadoop? I would probably make a comparison on SAS, so I'll come to that. What are the limitations of R? I believe it processes data using RAM, so memory limitations are there. That's right, Mariappan. That's there. That's generally there, but that's not a big crunch as well. You can still, it uses memory, so R inherits from C and C++. It was developed using, I would say, Fortran to start with, and even R was used towards the later point, right? So the advantages, as I told you, it is open source, right? Um, Open source provides advanced graphics, and uh, it can connect to many data sources. That is one thing, right? And disadvantages, it doesn't have dedicated support for R, right? You don't have dedicated support. And because there is but there is a strong community available that serves well. Can we install R on cloud? Let us complete. Yeah, sure. That's right. So we will go, friends, shall we take up questions? I too agree with what. Let's go with the flow, and let me take up the questions towards, probably, I'll pass for questions. Fine. So we need to know, for example, disadvantages. Stores data in RAM, as one of you pointed out, need to have better programming skills, and we need to know which package to use. There are about 5,000 packages, right? So we need to have a good knowledge on these packages, right? Because without which, you may not be able to use the which package to use where. And let me draw a comparison with R with SAS, right? Um, SAS is expensive because of annual licenses, but one good thing is it has dedicated support, extensive documentation, which is a gap in R. And we need to have, again, you need to have programming skills and all that, right? So if someone asks you, like, will SAS there to replace R, the answer is no, right? In fact, you will be surprised, the SAS Studio, which provides capability to interface with R language, because they are finding ways to make them work better with each other, so that in the best interest of customers. So that's why both of them are here to stay, right? Data analysis software, increase popularity is increased substantially in recent years, and it's R is for statistical analysis. Primary, it makes things pretty simple for the analysis. Look at the characteristics. Effective fast handling storage, a bunch of operators for calculation of arrays, lists, vectors. Data analysis and visualization. In fact, I would say that R's visualization is definitely superior to SAS or any other tool for that matter, right? It has got very rich visualization. Well implemented effective programming language called S, on top of which R is built. A complete range of packages to extend, enrich the functionality of R, right? So, and look at the visualization, right? So we will in fact see as part of visualization. In fact, as I told you, R has got um, advanced graphics, right? So we can have a very good visual representation of data that can be used for effective communication, right, of information, with clarity and integrity. And visualization, again, friends, it is one of the most important aspect in analytics, right? If you just go with your p value and k means to your senior leadership or executive leadership, right, it's going to be a disaster, because they don't want to know all that. You need to talk the business lingo, right? So you need to have a good visualization technique, right? So R provides all these things. R is as it provides with very it has got great rich visualization capabilities. So you can actually just to stimulate the viewers engagement, right? There are a lot of functions in R that can do things. Yeah. So who uses R domains, right? This is another if you see this, right, there are lots and lots of industry, as I told you in the beginning, right? They use R. Like for example, in I told you about the churners in the telecom industry, right? So they can we can analyze the historical data, coming back to the churners context, right? So historical data, and is this, we can actually see, is the trend with for example, if you find some of the churners, right, if you find some of the churners, right, if you have identified the potential churners who would defect to a different provider, what you can do is you can do some analysis and see whether the trend is reflecting with a particular age group, or does it happen with certain salary range, or is this an attribute of a particular city, and so on and so forth, right? So once done, we kind of document our findings, make it as a report, right? We share it with the leadership. Then we narrow down, based on what should be the action plan to address this issue. So that's how it is typically done in an organization, right? So we can, even the marketing team or the sales team, they can try to entice them with some offers, or try to find out what was the actual reason for them to think that way. Why do they want to defect, right? So all these things, because why people want to do this is like customer acquisition, new customer acquisition is 5 times more costlier than retaining existing customers. So all the people, all the companies do this as part of customer retention, right? So this is one thing. And similarly in the retailing, in the good old days, I think you all must have faced this. At least I've faced this numerous times when I used to be in US way back in early 2000s. They used to give bunch of discount coupons if you go to a shop like Best Buy, or if you go to a shop like um, any kind of shop, even Target and all that, right? So they give bunch of discount coupons, and you will uh, I've never seen them. I used to straight away trash it. The reason was, it never made sense, because you may be buying products A, B, C, and the discount coupons will have A to Z, right, with so many flavors and so many variants in that, right? So because the information was completely irrelevant, right? So nowadays the retailers have uh, they do they launch product promotion based on customers buying patterns, right? Because analytics plays a very important role here. Discount coupon, what you get on relevant products, what the customer usually buys, right? So giants like the Publix supermarket, Sears, and they're all making significant strides in the area of retailing. They do extensive analysis of data, have they make a lot of business decisions, right? Great business decisions that is not only helped in customer retention, they also help them widening their customer base. So that way they are okay, and even the customers remain happy customers. It's a win-win for both sides, right? So that way it's a great thing to they most of these retailers are making giant strides in this. And there are lots and lots of examples like sports analytics. You all must be knowing how SAP as a company, right, they helped Germany in winning the World Cup soccer, because they identified some of the critical attributes, and they helped how a player can actually the they kind of figured out that if a player has reduced ball possession compared to what they were doing, right? So that helps them to pass the ball pretty quickly, and this way they could penetrate into opponent's defense, right? This was again analytics for you, right? And healthcare, we all know that how it is revolutionizing in the areas of genome sequencing, especially in the cancer research and all that, right? It monitors the health of a heart of a person, right? It can predict, even nowadays, it can even predict cardiac arrest by monitoring the heart regularly and quickly. It can even looking at the heart monitoring, right? It can predict the cardiac arrest. And again, in the BFS domain, you have fraud detection, trade surveillance. All these things are, they automate steps to validate oversights, right? So all these things are there. Lots and lots of examples. Again, in airlines, right? We know. Uh, I can give you this example as well. In the airlines, half a terabyte of data is generated in every Boeing Dreamliner flight for a single leg over Atlantic, right? Just imagine the Airbus 380, which is the largest passenger aircraft, how much of information it would generate with 4 engines, right? So, and we are talking about 100,000 flights a day, and in fact, GE has in fact come up with the aircraft optimization project, right? So they do a lot of research on this, and they do a lot of predictive analytics, right? So this is endless, folks. I don't want to give more examples, but this is, you will find it in all the, we have just listed down like 3 or 4 domains here, but you can, this has got entrenched into any domain here, right? So it's going to play an important role down the line.